climb maps. A somewhat overlooked map type compared to the likes of, say, surf or bunny hop maps. These maps have their origins in the days of Counter-Strike 1.6, around the early 2000s. Some players use Gold Source's movement mechanics to navigate maps in very interesting ways. One player named Kreedz began making maps with these mechanics in mind. Thus was the start of the Kreedz Climb game mode. Maps made for this mode use the KZ prefix. At some point during the days of Counter-Strike Source, the KZ prefix was dropped for the XC one, which from what I can tell stands for Extreme Climbing, before switching back to KZ when Counter-Strike Global Offensive came out. I could not find the exact reason for this happening. From what I understand, it's pretty much two prefixes for the same game mode. The goal of a climb map is to make your way from the start of the map to the end in the fastest time possible. Players navigate using tricks like air strafing, ladder jumps, and other general tricky movement to reach the end of the map in the fastest time. A lot of these maps have some kind of fun room at the end for players to mess around in. Helicopters seem to be pretty common. I have fond memories of racing other players to the helicopter on XC Obsidian and giving everyone lifts to the top, normally unsuccessfully. But many only have a sign or two. I've run into at least one pawn room while investigating maps as well. Most of these maps have their origins in Counter-Strike, but my first experience of them was on Garry's Mod via the Sassilization servers, back when they were still active. Sassilization was a group that made an RTS game mode in Garry's Mod, but they also hosted servers for other game types, and one of them was for climbing. While I was looking through some of the maps I used to play on back in the day, I stumbled across this one. This is XC DDT Tixi. I think this one's ideal for a video, both due to its interesting visuals, demonstration of different climbing techniques, segmented layout, and not being so difficult that my hands feel like they have crippling arthritis afterwards. I was originally going to look at XC DDT Anthology 3, but that map is very long. I managed to get in contact with one member of DDT, Doggers. Unfortunately, I haven't heard back from Tixi, who this map is named after. DDT stands for Developing Trust Team, a group of online friends who did level design. They started out in Gold Source and quickly moved on to the Source engine during the days of CSS's popularity. The group made an assortment of maps for the game, mostly featuring their tag, but it was DDT's XC maps that became well known due to their progression of skill and ability to be completed without any server plugin due to their segmented nature. The aforementioned XC DDT Anthology 3 is well known for this. I'm going to play this map through in Garry's Mod because I seem to be having some stutter when I play this map in CSS. There's probably some magic setting I could use to fix this, but I wouldn't know what it is. And for those curious, the map loads in CSGO, but it's missing too much to be playable. Just a heads up, I have not played a climb map for almost a decade, so I'm pretty rusty. The map starts in what looks like one of the questioning rooms from Half-Life 2. I managed to break the map with the grav gun. Great job, me. Well, anyway, pushing on this remote creates a portal on the wall. Or is it in the wall? I don't know. Either way, it's a cool effect. And we are in our first area. This part is pretty easy and I could probably get through without using save points. But I'm lazy and I'm out of practice. These first few sections are easy enough. Oh, these things. So this gets a bit tricky later on, but the idea is you're supposed to do a 180 jump around the pillar to get around. I think they're called strafe jumps. These ones are pretty easy to cheese, but I still don't like them. We also get our first spike. Not as hard as you think when you get used to them. Now we're up to the next area. It's tealish coloured. I try not to fall down, but you know, it just happens. I wasn't able to find a lure script or a climb game mode that acted like how it does in Counter-Strike, so I made an E2 script alongside Nexus called Add Player Teleportation. If you want to use my honestly not great script yourself, then remember to also download Nexus Core, or else if you ask why it doesn't work in the comments, everyone has permission to laugh at you. Normally if this map was played in CSS or CSGO, there'll be a server plugin like KZ Timer that would do all this. Now begins the slightly more tricky series of panel jumps. As you can see, sometimes I had to keep in mind the panels above as well. I also accidentally set my spawn when I wanted to teleport back to my spot. I did this quite a bit on this section. More of those tricky strafe jumps. I stuffed up my teleport spot again too. I gave up and no-clipped back up. You're going to be hearing that fall damage sound a lot in this video. Also, for some of these later jumps, I had to straddle the fine edge of the platforms. now we're in a Cel Shaded Room. I took some time here to edit my E2 script so it sucks slightly less. The jumps are a bit more spaced out here, but the room is probably a bit more easy than the one before. The shading on these spikes though threw me off a bit when I tried to land on them. I still suck at these strafe jumps. The trick with the middle vent is to crouch when you're going down, and to jump when you're going up to build momentum. Eventually I reached the bottom and encountered my greatest challenge yet. So here is a wall full of strafe jumps. I'm gonna fast forward through this because it's kinda painful to watch how much I suck at this. The second part is even harder due to the lack of run-up room. But you know what? I got there in the end. Persistence pays off. At the top here is this interesting series of jumps where you have to kind of crouch jump from block to block to get up. Since I'm playing in build mode, I can sprint. It makes things a bit easier. Probably too easy. For the next area I tried long jumping across but failed miserably as I caught myself on the ladder. No cheesing for me. Looks like there's an invisible wall there anyway. This section is somewhat easy. We even have a little surf section here. Eventually we start getting some more funky looking things to jump on. For funsies, I did actually manage to cheese this section with a good sprint jump. Is this cheating? I mean, kinda. Do I care? No. Oh joy, more tricky strafe jumps. Took me a while to realize I could just do this. Now we're in a wood-themed room. This is probably the trickiest area of the map, at least for me. Looking back now, I should have adjusted my mouse sensitivity. I reset my teleport spot on the ground like a scrub after I tried going for a shortcut. Now to climb all the way to the top again. Got it this time. This is a hairline strafe jump that I found to be very difficult. I eventually gave up doing it the intended way and cheated by using the sprint key. Now this just did my head in. Another strafe jump, but I just could not get it. I had to say it, but eventually I gave up and no-clipped my way to the next platform. Here's a video of someone else making the jump. I'm sorry everyone, I lack the skill. Now for another strafe jump. Great. Eventually I worked out I could give myself some room on this jump. The rest isn't as hard, fortunately. Lots of points in this one. one last portal. We're getting closer to the end. This white staircase will take us there. There's not too much to say here. I'm just jumping up a series of stairs. It's almost like ascending to heaven or something. You need something to break for the top, so give me a sec while I get my whacking stick ready. And we exit into a black and white space with the map's name on what I'm guessing is a theatre. Tixi. Inside the theatre is a series of rooms. You have to guess the right one to reach the final area. If you get it wrong, well, one more series of jumps. Once again, we have a vent. Crouch to go down, jump to go up. There's not much else up here, but I notice you can enter some areas that leave the black and white effect. Now, let's find the right exit. Here we go! A nice two-player game of noughts and crosses. From what Doggers told me, this was quite novel for the time. And that's pretty much the end of the map. I'm going to thank Doggers for getting in contact with me and answering some of the questions I had. And I would also like to thank Skylar Beck, who made me remember these maps and fall down this rabbit hole. If you want to try a climb yourself, I would suggest either joining a climb map on CSGO, or trying the Kreedz Climbing Mod on Steam to learn the ropes. Be aware the mod changes how movement works due to a bunch of technical stuff. Hey, if you're watching this close to when this vid comes out, I was planning to release this all the way back in early November, but life got in the way. Sorry about the wait. To anyone in the climb community watching this, I apologize greatly for not being that good, and not using Counter-Strike. Also, almost all the maps I showed were from a download pack of maps used on the sassilization climb server on the Steam Workshop. That's why I haven't really shown any modern KZ maps. I've left a link below if you want to have a look at them yourself. Tixi and a few of the other DDT maps are included,